Hello friends, welcome to a new chapter today. In this chapter, let us now learn a few points about nephronophthisis. Okay, so this is the picture of nephronophthisis. So this is the kidney where you see many macroscopic. In nephronophthisis, you can see. Okay. In nephronophthisis, you can see many macroscopic cysts in the medulla and in corticomedullary junction. In the medulla, you are seeing these cysts, and these are also seen in corticomedullary junction. This is the histology feature where you see dilated distal tubules and collecting ducts you are seeing, and here in the interstitial inflammatory cells are seen, and there is one important thing which is interstitial fibrosis. Here catchy point is this interstitial fibrosis. Till now we have learned 3 cystic diseases, but we haven't learned the fibrosis in them, right? Then there are some extra renal manifestations are also associated here. Those include retinitis pigmentosa, which is seen along with nephronophthisis. In type 2 medullary cystic disease, you see gout associated with this. So this is the picture of magnetic resonance imaging, which is showing many numerous cysts. Okay, non-enlarged kidneys with many numerous cysts. So that is nephronophthisis. So we will learn some important points about nephronophthisis. So if you see this, okay, this is nephronophthisis. It is most common cause of, if you were asked a one-liner question, this nephronophthisis is actually the most common cause of end-stage renal disease in childhood and adolescence. End-stage renal disease in childhood and adolescence, most common cause is nephronophthisis. Okay, there are 11 gene mutations which are seen in nephronophthisis, and those gene mutation will lead to the production of the which are seen. 11 gene mutations are seen which are autosomal recessive, present on chromosome 2. Okay, these gene mutations will lead to defective production of the protein nephrocystin or inversin formation. The protein is called as nephrocystin or inversin, and this protein normally it helps to localize the primary cilia which are associated with basal body of epithelial cells. In the epithelial cells, it helps in localizing primary cilium, but here there is defect in this, and thus this will lead to the formation of cysts. So this nephronophthisis, it can be either it can be infantile, or we have juvenile nephronophthisis and adolescent nephronophthisis. Okay, most commonly if you see this most commonly it occurs due to the defect in the gene NPHP1. What does this NPHP1 do? This will affect the primary cycle centriole. What is centriole? Centriole is a component of centrosome. So here it occurs due to the problem or defect in this centriole, and as a result there will be defective lining in the there will be defective epithelial lining of the kidney. Okay, normally the centriole helps in centrioles mainly help in cell division, right? But here because of this problem in cell division and centriole, this causes defective epithelial cells in the kidney. So this will lead to tubular atrophy and fibrosis in the interstitium. There will be tubular atrophy, and one important thing is fibrosis in the interstitium, and atrophy of the tubule and fibrosis in the interstitium. So because of this tubular atrophy and fibrosis, there is no absorption of water or sodium. So because there is no reabsorption of water and sodium, so water and sodium are lost in the urine. So there is polyuria and polydipsia, and there is sclerosis of glomeruli also. This fibrosis leads to sclerosis of glomeruli leading, and there is uremia also, and these will also cause defective epithelial cells in other organs also, thus resulting in extrarenal manifestations. This nephronophthisis extrarenal manifestations are more common in this nephronophthisis. Okay, so let us see. Grossly, what do you see? Grossly, if you see that the shrunken kidney. See, in either simple renal cyst or even if you see autosomal dominant kidney disease, you see enlarged kidney. But here you see shrunken kidney, and the kidney is granular, and there is narrowed cortex. You see shrunken kidney, granular and narrowed cortex. And if you see this cut surface, in on the cut surface you see minute cysts which are present at the corticomedullary junction. You see minute cysts at the corticomedullary junction. This place is very important, corticomedullary junction, where you see many cysts, and these cysts are lined by flattened and cuboidal epithelium. One thing is presence of flattened cuboidal epithelium, and there is chronic inflammatory non-specific inflammatory infiltrate is seen. Flattened epithelium, non-specific inflammatory infiltrate. Interstitial fibrosis is one important thing which is very important, and there is thickening of basement membrane. Interstitial fibrosis, there is thickening of basement membrane, and if you see the glomeruli are hyalinized. Okay, so these are the main features that you see in this nephronophthisis. I'll show you the picture. Okay, just a minute. Then if you see clinical features, in the clinical features, as I have said, we have juvenile form, adult form and infantile form. So in the juvenile form there is salt wasting, polyuria, polydipsia, volume depletion and systemic acidosis. All these will lead to growth retardation, which is the main important feature, and there is rickets. So here you see salt wasting, polyuria, polydipsia, volume depletion, systemic acidosis, and there is growth retardation and presence of rickets. Then, so if you see in all the cases of nephronophthisis, there is development of end stage renal disease. So in infants, end stage renal disease occurs by 3 years of age. In juvenile form, end stage renal disease occurs by 13 years of life. In adolescent form, end stage renal disease occurs by 19 years of age. Then we have one more which is called as extrarenal manifestations. So what are the extrarenal manifestations of nephronophthisis? We have in the nephronophthisis there is retinitis pigmentosa. Nephronophthisis associated with retinitis pigmentosa, there is a syndrome that is called as senior Loken syndrome. Then it is also associated with blindness because of the presence of amaurosis can lead to blindness. Then there is ocular apraxia, cerebellar, there is retinitis pigmentosa, there is blindness leading to amaurosis. Okay, and there is ocular apraxia, cerebellar ataxia, which is called as Joubert syndrome, and we have polydactyly, mental retardation, hepatic fibrosis, ventricular septal defect, and it is also associated with situs inversus because of the mutation of the gene INVS gene, which is NPHP2, thus which is critical for right to left pattern. So it is associated with sinus venosus, so and situs inversus also, where all the organs are right and left, they have been inversed. That is, all the organs in the right are present in the left side, whereas all the organs on the left side are present in the right side. So all these are extrarenal manifestations. Now, how are you going to diagnose this problem? This problem you will have the progress. One important thing is family history of kidney disease will be there, and the patient will land up in progressive renal failure. And if you do an ultrasonography, you see very small hyperechoic kidney is seen in juvenile form. If you see in juvenile form, you see small hyperechoic kidney if in juvenile form, whereas if you take the infantile form you see large cystic kidney. How are you going to treat it? You can't do any type of treatment other than symptomatic treatment, okay, because the cause here is genetic. Now I'll show you the pictures. So this is the picture of CT scan which is showing many cysts. Okay, the kidney are almost in the same size, normal size, right? And those, where are those kids? Those cysts are in the corticomedullary junction. So this is nephronophthisis image, and if you see, this is the image of the cysts, and in this you have even fibrosis also. Okay, this is the ultrasound picture which is showing the cysts. See, this is the cut section where you see cysts only in the corticomedullary junction. The cysts are mainly present in corticomedullary junction. Then this is the picture of This is the picture where the collagen is stained green. See, reticulin stain, where because there is intense fibrosis. I told you that there is fibrosis, right? Here you are seeing this is fibrosis, that is collagen. And these tubules, if you see that the tubules have undergone atrophy. Tubules have undergone atrophy. And this is the glomerulus, right? If you see this glomerulus, there is a hyalinization of glomerulus is seen. The glomerulus is hyalinized. Okay, so these are the features which you see in nephronophthisis. Next. So thank you guys for watching my lecture. In the next class we will learn about new disease. Thank you.